Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to ARL Realistic here in the Sunday tier. Very delighted to be back for this one. It's the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai, China, and we have had one race this weekend already. It was a wet qualifying yesterday, it's a wet qualifying today in pretty much identical conditions. So those that have managed to race both days are going to have a nice advantage going into this qualifying session, and track position very, very important around China, and especially in a wet qualifying where everyone is going to have a free choice of tyres come the race. Yeah, it's going to be hugely beneficial to those guys. Thank you to those that have been supporting this championship as we are able to run Q1 again today, which is nice. Expilo goes to the top by 0.5 of a second. He raced yesterday in the exact same car, so to have that advantage already is, of course, really encouraging for him. Apologies, just dealing with somebody that is currently wanting to jump in to a Mercedes, so hopefully he is able to do that. There is some, for some reason, a lot of noise going on outside, but I'll try and block that out as much as I can. There's not a lot I can do about it, unfortunately, but still at the top, Expilo, ahead of Y-Boy Jake, and yes, Key Hero Byron has managed to get in, so that is wonderful to see that we have 18 drivers all participating in this shootout qualifying. The more the merrier, of course, for this scenario. In third place at the moment, Matty Mumu. You can string together multiple laps in the wet. You get 3 sets of intermediate tyres and 2 sets of wet tyres. I don't think we'll need the wet tyres, but should just be the intermediates. On board with Matty Mumu once more. He makes his way through the final corner, gathering all together, and goes to the top of the timesheets. That's another Renault coming through. That is GSR Patriot starting a lap, and Expilo has been charging up the battery for another run. Next up is Y-Boy Jake, who's been improving on this run, but he is aborting and coming into the pit lane. Aaron Ocon in the racing point for today, as he was in Monaco. Into the final corner. Doesn't keep it within the limits, and he's surely going to be invalidated for that. Indeed he is. ABS Jarve out of fuel. That's Burning Man coming through. Also going into the pit lane. So yeah, I think we've just about settled the first runs of the session. GSR Patriot has front wing damage on that Renault, so he's had an off somewhere. Atlantis has gone to the top of the timesheets now with a 144.481 in the AlphaTauri. On board here with Expilo, and you can see the back end wants to step out of the banked corner that leads you onto this long DRS straight. A fantastic opportunity for overtaking, and a fantastic opportunity for a big crash as well, due to the nature of the braking zone. How tight that hairpin is. Through the final corner comes Expilo. Can he get back onto the top of the timesheets? He will, but not by much. Just 4 thousandths of a second there as he crosses the line. It's an AlphaTauri 1-2 at the moment. LSJ Rundle in the Ferrari. He pulled off an incredible overtake last week to take the victory of the Monaco Sunday race. That was ahead of Axe, who had a penalty removal. Isn't here today due to a real-life NASCAR event. So hopefully himself and Square have enjoyed their weekend. Atlantis was also on the podium in the Sunday race last week, and talking the championship, because it seems to be something that's just been developing without really much anything I can without much I've really been talking about. You know, it's just kind of been developing. Expilo leads the championship on 62 points after 2 wins and a 4th place. That puts him on 62 points. Then Atlantis is on 46 points, ahead of Matty Mumu on 36. So, realistically, it's an AlphaTauri fight for the Sunday Championship. So, hopefully that goes down to the very last race. There's Jay Rundle there, crossing the line. FRA LMG in one of the 2 Williams. F1 driver who wasn't able to make it yesterday is back today. Currently in danger, Gogglesaw, who is yet to set a valid lap. Key Hero Brian, who's just starting his flying lap without any hands. I think that car's in AI. No, it seems to be disconnected. I'm not sure if he's in the session. I don't think he is. So this is holding up Patriot. Let's see what's happened. We're on board again with Expilo, who's extended that advantage at the top to over 0.3 of a second now. Again, he's just doing a recharge, keeps going again, and is trying to get that time down. Currently in 5th place is Y-Boy Jake, who has had a strong start to this qualifying session. In P11 is SV Tax in the Haas, as he gets a little bit out of shape with the first sequence of corners. Oh, and that is all out of shape, and how that hasn't resulted in a spin through turn 7, I do not know. So he lets F1 driver through, who is currently on an outlap. Raptor, who is in 16th at the moment, but about a 10th off provisional safety, is on a flying lap and is flying off the road, and a bit of lag there. Can't really tell if he's keeping it together. GSR Patriot again on a lap. He hasn't managed to register a time so far in this session. That is Raptor off backwards there. Interesting. Got a car off at turn 6. It might be one of the Williams guys. Key Hero Brian has now left the session. See if that achieves anything. GSR Patriot went up to 4th, just behind teammate Matty Mumu. Kier O'Brien has got back in, so might just be a glitch going on at the moment. Pluto is at a purple middle sector for the Alfa Romeo driver on today's occasion. Both Williams cars full up today, so next best option, Alfa Romeo for Pluto as he blasts down the back straight, reaching speeds of about 195 miles per hour, coming into the braking zone at about 100 meters. Just about gets that rotated in, not easy to do. Into the final corner, uses the outside curb, uses a lot of that inside curb, keeps it well within the limits with track to spare there, and goes into P3. In danger at the moment, F1 driver, but he heads through the hairpin now with a little bit of on-throttle wheel spin coming into the final corner himself. He's left a lot less room there and goes up to 11th. Will that be enough? LSJ Rundle has disqualified himself. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure what's going on here with the Raptor, who's all out of shape and has managed to find one of the hardest barriers you can actually find in perhaps all of F1. ABS Jarv, now the driver at risk. Hopefully things get sorted very quickly, because it is a little bit of a pain having to get in all of these drivers. Communist MV has retired, but he is at risk of elimination. There still isn't Key Hero Brian in the car, is it? No, it certainly isn't. Not sure what's going on with him. Atlantis pulls into the pit lane. He's reduced that gap to 1/10 of a second. Well, that is it for Q1. Everyone might as well retire, because obviously everyone's entitled to finish their lap and try and improve their Q1 position, but with the situation Key Hero Brian's in, where he's not actually driving, I mean, just look at that for an example. But let's watch this Renault battle at the minute. GSR Patriot we're on board with, making the appearance and into the final corner. It was a bit out of shape there as he went up through the gears. He doesn't improve. In fact, is that an identical lap to last time? Matthew Mumu is matching his personal best. At the moment, the checkered flag is now waving. Matty Mumu through the final corner. Is it going to be an improvement for the Brit? Up to second. So, yeah, it's going to be a threatening lap for the likes of Expilo, Atlantis. They know they've got a little bit of a challenge ongoing. F1 driver skating through there, but everyone at the moment is safe. We're on board with FRA LMG through the final corner. 11th so far in the Williams, goes P8 with that lap. Next up will be F1 driver who has invalidated Jarv. Quite severe time wasting going on right now, considering where he is on the track. It's nothing bad. Gogglesaw, who has been at risk for most of this session, started to string together some laps and into the final corner. Not much outside curb, just keeping it in a straight line, and he goes 7th fastest. So Yeah, that's an improvement. Patriot managed to get another lap in. Jarv is gonna risk crashing out and taking no further part. Oh, Patriot's off the road, and that could have been him taking no further part in qualifying as well. He's going to pit, and that'll be it for him. Jarv is putting himself at a lot of risk, I'll just say that. Key Hero Brian is glitched. Anyway, here we are then. Qualifying one is finally complete, and it's Expelo that leads the first part of qualifying. Matty Mumu in P2 out of Atlantis, Pluto, Patriot, Y-Boy Jake, and it's very, very close in this mid-pack from, I want to say, 7th to 12th, about 3/10 in it there. Yeah, Key Hero Brian is glitched out. But Communist gets eliminated from qualifying due to a crash. That leaves 14 in for Q2. Q2 then, it still remains intermediate conditions out there, and certainly the stakes are a lot higher. Here we go then, cars are out on the circuit. First one out is FRA LMG as he makes his way through turn 4, turn 5 being a little kink. Not really corner, is it? But he's taken the alternative turn 6. Behind him, that's an Alpha Tauri. Well, thought he got a lot close there, but Atlantis wanting track position over the Williams. let's go back to Atlantis then, who is about to charge up for his first qualifying lap of Q2 then. Let's go on board with him around Shanghai through the final corner then and down the main straight then. I need to invite someone. Part 3 of trying to ensure that Key Hero Brian can actually race. Anyway, back to Atlantis, 1 sector down. Turn 7 is next up. Very tricky corner. Just needs to get tight to that apex to open up turn 8, which is a lot slower corner. And then turn 9 down to second gear. Difficult traction zone this. But he's on the power nicely. Now heading up to the turn 11, 12 chicane. This one goes uphill. Very easy to run wide here. Again, an incredibly difficult traction zone, particularly in the wet. My boy Jake letting him through here. Now, will we see anyone get into the 1 minute 43s during this part of qualifying? The experience is there from Q1 and even more from yesterday. Through the final corner then, Atlantis J20 to the line, and it's a 44.7. Certainly a lot of room for improvement in there. Can LMG beat it? No, he's down by significant margin. SV Tax, then comes Burning Man. Next up is Y-Boy Jake, who slows down across the line. GSR Patriot goes second fastest. Next to cross the line will be Matty Moo, and he goes fastest with a 1 minute 44.2 in the Alfa Romeo. Next up is Pluto, and he does a 1 minute 45.4. F1 driver next to cross line, he goes 7th, 5/10 off his Williams teammate so far. Next up is Aaron Ocon, he goes 9th. Erna next in the Ferrari, he now goes 9th. Around the final corner comes Expilo, and this is a man to watch. Can he beat Matty Moo? He could beat his teammate, but not Matty Moo so far in Q2. That's great pace. So brilliant lap from Matty Moo. Nobody else has quite found the level of pace that he has so far. Oh, Aaron, not another one. ABS Jarv, 11th. He is at risk of elimination. Bottom 4 will go out in this session. Maybe actually the bottom 5. I'm not quite sure how it works. Especially that we've only got 14 in this session. Y-Boy Jake will not have this lap time count. He's got Matty Moo behind, maybe a wash of dirty air there, bit of slipstream to the line, and Matty Moo gets into the 1 minute 43s. So 1 minute 43.8 for him. Pluto remains, or goes up to 5th I should say, with an improvement of his lap time. Next up is F1 driver, he goes 8th fastest, and Erna also on a lap in the Ferrari, rounds the final corner, needs to get himself out of danger, and does so. Good effort. P7 for him. Next up is Expilo, and he's found a lot of time on this lap, and 1 minute 44.0 is his time as he gets closer to Matty Moo once more. on board with Pluto, and certainly he has already noticed the jump from the Williams to the Alfa Romeo in terms of car performance. Should make him a little bit more competitive. More noticeable in the dry, hopefully. Aaron Ocon is back. Matti Mumu pulls off to the right hand side to allow Pluto to go through. We have some drivers completing laps. First up is Burning Man, and he improves but stays 7th fastest. Drivers going into the pit lane, and the other Red Bull of Y-Boy Jake crosses line and goes P3. So great effort there by Y-Boy Jake. 1 minute 44.6. Is he in a silent hunt for pole? I mean, he's a good 8/10 off the pace at the moment, but still nicely done to get on to what would be the second row if this was Q3. But there's still pressure from behind with eliminations, but Y-Boy Jake nicely done so far. This elimination qualifying. Of course, in the realistic tier, we have drivers on their out laps now. Don't think anyone is on a flyer at the moment. Y-Boy Jake certainly isn't. Actually, Atlantis is in another Honda-powered car, the sister AlphaTauri team. Into the final corner. A lot of inside curb missed there, and it's a poor exit as well. That could have gone anywhere if he didn't keep it under control. He still does improve and goes into 3rd, so there's an awful lot of time there to be found. Any response from the other drivers? SV Tax being one of the drivers that are on a lap. And slipstream going on between the two Finnish Haas drivers. Very nicely done, and this should hopefully get SV Tax out of danger. He's a long way off at the minute, but trying a toe in the wet is not something I thought we'd be seeing. Crosses the line, and it's only 10th. LMG not up in the middle sector. Oh, he's lost a lot of time there on throttle. And LMG is going to be miles off his personal best, but he's going to have another crack at it. Let's see what else we've got going on circuit. F1 driver will be next to cross the line, but he's on an out lap. Following is Aaron Ocon. Aaron Ocon goes up to third. Oh, that's my own voice. Sorry. Nicely done by Aaron Ocon. Atlantis slows down, makes way for the traffic. Next cross line is GSR Patriot, and he crosses line, goes P3 himself. So, beyond Matty, beyond Expilo, this is becoming a real close fight. Atlantis starts his flying lap. My boy Jake has started a flying lap as well, all hoping to relieve themselves of risk of elimination, and Jake not with an exit like that. Yellow flag. Patriots been off. ABS Jarv about to start a flying lap, as is Gogglesaw, but he has a huge drift through turn 14. Next up after that, though, will be Burning Man, but no, his qualifying session is done. He can't get another lap in, and he will be eliminated in Q2. Pluto goes up to third with a 1 minute 14.3. Next up will be Aaron Ocon, but his qualifying is also done. White boy Jake will finish the lap, but he will stay put in P7. Oh, Atlantis has to keep it together. He is safe. LMG goes 8th, so he's now definitely safe. It's Jarv against Gogglesaw for a place in Q3. Expilo to the top, 1 minute 43.4. Jarva's invalidated, so it is Goggles' position to keep here. He will finish the lap. Matty Moo stays second fastest. See what Gogglesaw can achieve. Into the final corner, that's a spinning Jarv. Gogglesaw to the line, he goes... Oh, he stays 10th. Gets a lot closer to the lap time of those around him. You know, it's 5/10 to P3. But Q2 is over. And the top 10 go through then, with Expilo leading the way once more in qualifying, out of Matty Moo and Pluto, setting pretty similar lap times there. Out of Patriot, Aaron Ocon, Atlantis, Wide Boy Jake, LMG, SV Taxon, Gogglesaw, and I didn't mean P3, I meant P4. From P4 to P10, it is just over 3.5 tenths. Bit of a Euro update if anyone really cares in the chat. It's 0-0 between the Netherlands and the Czech Republic. But this is far more important. There's actual action. Over the next 12 minutes, we have a full-on shootout for pole position. And that is, of course, fantastic. That's one of the most exciting things about modern Formula 1. Especially when you've got other teams in the mix, or you've just got a straight-on teammate head-to-head. But so it's always good when other teams are close, other teams are getting on the first few rows. And it certainly can happen when there's rain. 4 cars on an outlap already, the leader of those being ARL Aaron Ocon, who had a really good lap in Q2. He got safely through. But now, another task at hand. Where can he qualify on the grid? All 10 drivers on an outlap, and one by one we will find out how the pace shapes and how we expect the grid to form. Of course, there's still possibilities after the first run for track evolution, an absolute masterclass rectifying mistakes. It's all possible in Q3, and here we go then. ARL Aaron Ocon kickstarts Q3 shootout then, ahead of GSR Patriot, who's the second driver to cross the line. Then it's LMG, and then Y-Boy Jake being the first 4 cars around. We'll keep an eye on these 4 closely, as there's a big gap behind to the McLaren of Gogglesaw, who is rounding the final corner now. Aaron Ocon then, let's see what he does in the first sector, up to the split, 27.6. Let's see what Patriot can do. He betters that. LMG about a 10th off that, and Y-Boy Jake, I believe, goes purple as well there. So it's Y-Boy Jake, the quickest at the moment. But let's go back to ARL Aaron Ocon as we keep an eye on this top 4. He has invalidated, he's lagging all over the place, and now Patriot takes control of the front. Second sector 59.6 for LMG. 1 minute 0.3, he's miles off at the moment. And Y-Boy Jake 59.6 as well. I think just slightly slower than Patriot at this point. He might get a nice slipstream here as well, Y-Boy Jake, if he just sticks close enough to FRA LMG. Certainly felt the effects of maybe some dirty air throughout the lap. But Patriot down towards the heavy braking zone on the hairpin of turn 14. Apparently this counts as turn 15, but then turn 16, the final corner, where it can all unravel in just a matter of seconds. He gets through there nicely, uses all of the curb available to him, crosses the line. It's a 44.8. LMG next to across the line, and half a second slower at the moment. Aaron Ocon of course, invalid. White boy Jake is off there. Goggles saw. Oh my god, there's another car off. SV Tax has gone flying. There's 3 cars off at the hairpin. Pluto's gone second quickest. Atlantis will be next. Or sorry, no, Expelo will be next. And he goes to the top by a full second. That is impressive stuff. Into the 1 minute 43s again goes Expelo. Atlantis with a 1 minute 44.4 is 6/10 off. Matty Mumu goes second, 4 thousandths quicker than Atlantis, but nowhere near Expelo. Has anyone else opted for another lap? No, Matty Mumu's crashed. Matty Mumu is out of the session. Oh, it's an absolute disaster for Matty Mumu, who was one of the very few contenders that were after Expelo for pole position. He has crashed out and will not be taking any further part over the next 6 minutes to try and stop him. Aaron Ocon has gone 7th with a 1 minute 45.7. Atlantis has opted for another lap. He hasn't actually come back into the pits at all, but he is going again. Seemed like a very tidy first 3 corners. That leads on to turn 4, where he's just about kept it under control. And let's see how much he's improving by in the first sector, 27.3. So that is almost 3/10 up on his first lap. That'll be a sign of encouragement for him. Sky blue helmet. Nice angle there towards the rear of the car. Or close to the rear of the car. Quickest sector 2. And again is running at about 3/10 up, which will be enough to be 3/10 behind Expelo. So it's not enough so far, and if he's got enough fuel to go again, he can cool down and then do one more as everyone else does. But Atlantis through the final corner in just a moment's time needs to nail it. Good inside apex. Oh, he just seems to struggle there on the exit. And he goes into the 43s. It's a 1 minute 43.921. So he's now a 10th behind his teammate and championship rival. White boy Jake on a lap. He's yet to set one in this session. He says he had a lot more time to find. You know what? That's not a bad exit from White boy Jake. He's managed to straighten the car nicely and get on the power as well without spinning. Down towards the hairpin then. White boy Jake becoming contender here for spot on maybe the second row, but we'll see. Just needs to keep it together out of the hairpin. Next up is the final corner. Uses a little bit less inside apex, but that straightens up his exit nicely. White boy Jake goes third fastest and goes on to the second row. Next up will be SV Tax, who also hasn't set a lap so far in this session. He goes 8th with a 45.0. Let's watch GSR Patriot, because he's had a nicer middle sector. On board with the Renault. Braking at 100 metres to the hairpin. Misses the apex ever so slightly. Aaron Ocon has retired in the pit lane. He's 5th at the moment. GSR Patriot needs to improve here to guarantee himself something. And yes, it's P3. 1 minute 43.951. He is in the hunt for pole. I wonder if he's going again. He might well be. So watch out for him. Atlantis is going again. Expelo is on another run. White boy Jake, he's invalid. I might not be able to get another. Pluto to the front row. 1 minute 43.893. And if he goes again, look at this. 4 drivers now suddenly within 1.5 tenths. And I wasn't really expecting this at any point, considering at one stage Expelo's margin was at about 6 tenths. He's improving though, Expelo, by about 3 tenths of a second. Pluto improving by about 1/10. Atlantis improving by about 2 tenths. Patriot improving by nearly 1/10 of a second as well. Atlantis then, into the hairpin, runs slightly wide, but needs to make sure the exit is better to compromise for that slight error. Into the final corner goes Atlantis. Needs to nail the exit. It's better. Is it good enough? It is! 1 minute 43.7, but will it be quickly ruined and swept under the carpet by Expelo, the championship leader? Oh, 5 tenths of a second. He takes provisional pole by. Next up is Gogglesaw, who is yet to set a lap at all. He goes 5th fastest, and as it stands, will be on the second row. Next up is Patriot, and he goes 3rd fastest. Pluto improving by about 1,000th of a second on his personal best as of the middle sector. It's a lot tighter to that inside apex. LMG has just gone P7, so that's actually not a bad start for a Williams in qualifying. Pluto's invalidated, but yeah, qualifying just over a second off pole is not too bad actually. And his Tax's run is over. He spun around anyway. And that is qualifying over. Expelo, Atlantis, Patriot, Pluto, Gogglesaw, the top 5 out of Jake, LMG, Matty, Tax, and Aaron Ockham. Aaron Ockham misses out on P9 by 0.02 of a second. Four and a half tenths. The margin there. Beyond that, another tenth to Patriot. Nearly another tenth to Pluto. And then Gogglesaw in 5th place. Almost a second off the pace. That is just how good that qualifying lap was from Expelo. But as we enter a dry race, well. Could all change very, very rapidly. Here we go then, finally, ready for the formation lap. We'll take a little peek at the strategy, because it should be a one-stop with mediums and hards being used. Has anyone opted for the softs? Unsurprisingly, no. But the two AlphaTauris have opted for hard tyres. Patriot's gone for an aggressive start with the medium tyres. Pluto and Gogglesaw also on the hards. Jake and LMG have gone for the mediums. Matty Mumu for the hards. Everyone else down to LSJ Rundle, who has opted for the hards, have gone for the mediums. You can see there the strategy, simple, medium to hard, or vice versa, made very easy by the free choice of tyres that everyone has now got. A lot of weaving to ensure good warm-up. Here we go then. Expilo will occupy the pole position grid slot ahead of this Sunday Chinese Grand Prix. A race day, of course, in the real world as well. A lot going on today. MotoGP, F1, touring cars, British superbikes. I only know this because of the idiot on Twitter that is Silly Sausage. But hey ho. Hopefully we can be entertained by this, however. 5 red lights coming on now for the drivers. As we rev it up now for the Chinese Grand Prix. They'll be revving it up shortly and we will be ready to get... Aaron Ocon. No, it's Raptor. Here we go. It's lights out and away we go. The 2 AlphaTauris on the front row. What a start by Pluto. And he shoots up into P2 already. Can he fight with the AlphaTauri into turn 1? No, he'll stay behind. Will Atlantis be able to cut back? Makes contact with the Alfa Romeo. He's sliding through turn 2 and through turn 3. A Renault flies off the track. I think it's GSR Patriot. Unlucky. He had a really good starting position as well. Aaron Ocon has got miles off the track and that is a crash. And that could be him out of the race. No, his tyres have remained on. That is, however, a reset to track. It's all going on here. ABS Jar fighting with F1 driver around the outside of turn 7. Holds the inside into turn 8. Nice stuff there from F1 driver. The 2 Ferraris going wheel to wheel momentarily. LSJ Rundle and Erna, who both exited Q1. My bad, Erna exiting Q2. But Expilo has a 1.1 second lead over Pluto. Everyone will soon clear Raptor. Burning Man on ABS Jarv. He has got through, but Jarv goes down the inside in his Haas. Burning Man opens the door. He saw him coming. Leaves a lot of room there on the exit. And despite the contact, couldn't do anything about that. One lap down. Patriot shoots into the pit lane. Spilo announces himself officially as the race leader. He already was, but Aaron Ocon becomes the first retiree in the pit lane after a lap 1 spin. On his own accord, of course. Top 3, all hard runners. Then LMG, who actually made it up into 4th place. That is a seriously impressive start. And on the medium tyres as well, he is looking racy. Let us keep an eye on this man right here. Slowest car on the grid. Quickest driver on the grid. Makes for an entertaining combination. Medium tyres can get to about 14 laps and do about half the race on them before switching to the hards. Very, very simple one stop with the mediums and the hards, like I said before. Down in towards the hairpin. No moves made at the moment. Pluto is not in the DRS range of Expilo. He'll be pushing hard to make sure he is, because this is the lap that the DRS is enabled. Pluto actually got the fastest lap out of everyone right there. So just needs to replicate that to enforce a fight. Another driver arriving on the scene. Y-Boy Jake. Great start from him. Qualified in P6. He's up to P5 at the moment. And in the DRS range, Communist. I mean, he was miles back. He's gained 9 positions. What a start by Communist. By the way, GSR Patriot has flown off at turn 1, and this could be a safety car. It's a virtual safety car. Erna has gone. Maybe he intended to leave, I'm not sure, but I'll invite him back anyway. Ooh. There's a red card! The lit has been sent off. We're back to green flags, so no excuse now to mention some football, but yeah, some interesting developments there. The Netherlands in trouble. Someone also in trouble is Pluto, because look at the run Atlantis has got into turn 1. Sorry, it's Euro season. But yeah, back to the racing though. Anyway, Atlantis pulls to the right hand side, and that is a very, very simple pass on Pluto with the DRS there. He has nothing to answer for that, and the AlphaTauri 1-2 is restored. And just look at what DRS can bring to a race. All of a sudden there's overtakes, and SV Tax fighting with Gogglesaw, Rundle fighting with Jarv as well, and all that going on in quick succession. Communist sets the fastest lap of the race. Look at him go. Sticking with this fight for the podium. Pluto has lost touch with Atlantis, meaning that LMG is going to have to run here on Pluto. And this is for a podium position in the Williams here. As look at the run, he's got the Mercedes engine helping him out as well. Although it is a draggy car, the power of the DRS and the slipstream has pulled him momentarily in front. But Pluto is going to fight back. The room is still there on the inside. Fair play to LMG for allowing that car's width. He's fully entitled now to pull ahead, and Pluto gets it all wrong out of that final corner. Tax and Gogglesaw still going at it. Good run now for Gogglesaw, who is going to the inside. Pluto is close as well, but Gogglesaw gets in front. Oh, just gives Tax that nudge there. Nothing too severe. Will Tax still fight at the inside? They're bang wheels, and through turn 2, Tax loses the car and has to stick behind Gogglesaw for that little bit longer. Matty Mumu fighting with ABS Jarv. Matty Mumu, who crashed in Q3 after being one of the contenders for pole. Jarv with a good exit, manages to keep it all together, and can he go around the outside of turn 7? No, not quite. That is some skill, though, if you can pull it off. Oh, yellow flag. F1 driver is out. He's off in the wall on the left-hand side, and a second virtual safety car has been deployed in this race. That may well have been on his own accord. Yep, based on his reaction. Oh, Jake! Running in P5. Clumsy to pick up a drive-through penalty. Oh, look at this. Matty Mumu has some front wing damage. And, oh! Jarvis got around. And he is in the wall. And he has lost his tyre. And that all came right on the end of the virtual safety car. Becomes a 4th DNF in 7 laps. Is that going to be a safety car at all? That is quite an image, isn't it? Nothing deployed as of yet, and his car is now disappeared. So, nothing caused by that. But let's go back to the AlphaTauri battle for the lead of this race. Atlantis back into the DRS range of Expilo. And how hard will they fight? And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be strictly honest. I'm going to say not very hard. Considering they are most likely communicating, working together. And although they are in a championship fight, they are not risky drivers. They will do everything in their power to avoid collisions and just bring home the most points as they can together. Fastest lap for Atlantis. Wide boy Jake off into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Gogglesaw ahead of Tax in P6, and again Tax tries it. There was absolutely not a car's width there, and Tax has tried it for a second. You think he would have learned there. But no, takes it on again and loses an extra position as a result. Here we go. Expilo with 76% ERS. Atlantis with about 20 now as they head down the straight. Atlantis looking for any slight bit of slipstream he can get, because that brings him really close into the braking zone. Look at that. Communist on the back of Pluto for P4. Communist, who has gained how many positions? Is that 10 positions? It is 10 positions. Another fastest lap for Atlantis J20 as we start lap 9 of 28. We're almost a third of the way through this race. Nice watching Communist here. See, keeps pressuring someone else. That is putting the pressure on someone is LSJ Rundle on SV Tax. Former teammates in league racing. Bringing back to DAR days. Don't think particularly any people know that. But here we go. An overtake about to make. Tax moves late. Rundle moves at just the right time to get past the Haas. Who has no answer. Oh my god, that is one late move. And one clumsy move. Once more. Rundle will not be too happy with that. He had a feisty battle yesterday with Pluto. Rundle is going to give it another go once more. Rundle to the outside now with turn 1. We've seen Tax try to move into turn 2. He's not close enough this time though, but too late from Tax to go for that dive bomb. Causing contact as well. Not a particularly good look. Atlantis just falling foul of a second from Expelo. He's now going to be out of DRS. Fastest lap for Expelo, so a good response from him. Matty Mumu now getting past SV Tax. Not again, for crying out loud, Tax. And that's front wing damage to himself. Oh my. That is rather shocking, isn't it? Puts himself in the wall. Good measure. I mean, that's nobody else's fault but his own. Horrific. He hasn't even retired, he's just left. But, okay, we'll move on from that. That is technically now, Erna's not in the race. There's 10 drivers remaining in this race on lap 11 of 28. It's not really a close on-track battle. You've got Communist within range of Pluto, who's about to lap Erna. There has been a goal while all this is going on. Communist having a look around the outside of Pluto, can very easily turn to the inside line. He won't poke his nose in like Tax has been doing. Remaining on board with Communist. fighting well. There's 12 points on the line here if he can overtake Pluto. He's on the medium to hard strategy, so he should be able to get a nice undercut when he does come into the pit lane. Will LMG come into the pit lane? In fact, we're getting close to that phase. Maybe just 1 or 2 more laps on these medium tyres and they will start to be funneling into the pit lane. Wide boy Jake, first medium runner into the pit lane. He had a drive through and has since been disconnected from the pack. Goes for an earlier pit stop onto the hard tyres. Away he goes. Quick pit stop there from the Red Bull lads. No different to real... Excuse me again. Real life. Obviously, the pit stop times are actually varied slightly. He's managed to cause a yellow flag by exiting the pit lane. I think that happens when you cross the line, because it's maybe deemed unsafe. We'll actually have a look at that while we've got the time. Cross the pit exit line. There you go, it causes a yellow flag. Gogglesaw gets the first track limits penalty of the afternoon. He's on his own, 3 seconds behind Communist, 3 seconds in front of Burning Man. So at the moment he shouldn't affect too much. But for safety cars to come out, bunch them all up late race. Could be in trouble. Here comes Communist down the inside of Pluto into turn 14. Pluto has to run wide. There's a bit of contact. Both of them have to keep it in a straight line, and they have done. Into the pits goes FRA LMG for Williams. But let's go back to this fight between Communist and Pluto. Pluto forces Communist to the outside. He had a little look. Thoughts about it, but no move to be made on this occasion. Away goes LMG in the last pit box of the 10 through the field. Let's go back to Communist. He's a lot further back on this occasion. He's got a lot less ERS as well than Pluto. Let's see Communist head into the pits on this lap. Another fastest lap from Expelo. And actually, Atlantis goes in first. He's going for the undercut onto the medium tyres a lot earlier for the second part of the race. It's totally doable. 14 laps on the mediums, but an interesting call. This should make it fascinating. Communist goes in on the same lap for the hards. So, yeah, quite fascinating that one to see that occur. Hard tyres go on. The Papaya McLaren of Communist. This must just be a visual glitch. Not sure what was going on there. Was there a front wing change at the front which didn't catch? Wide boy Jake sets the fastest lap of the race and is come out a fair distance behind Communist. Atlantis has traffic. He has Matty Mumu. He has LSJ Rundle to contend with. Look at the grip Atlantis has got. He just needs to find an opportunity to overtake. This is aiding Expelo, who might react on this lap. He's pushing him through turn 10 is Atlantis, and he's actually going to have a look down the inside at turn 11. And, well, although that is a nice move from Atlantis to get it done so soon, we'll see how much time that has cost him. Expilo stays out for another lap. Pluto is 16 seconds behind. Will he pit on this lap? He is. So, remember, he's fighting with Communist MV. Gogglesaur stays out for another lap. Who else has got him? Rundle, Matty Moo. LMG will jump up into P4 at the moment. Let's watch Communist, because we're looking for an Alfa Romeo who has already left the pit lane. Communist is a long way back, so I must have not caught it, but he must have had a wing change or something in that stop that prevented him from going. I don't think he had any traffic. I think he was quite alone in the pit lane. Let's have a look at the lead gap. 23.6 seconds. Another lap on offer for Atlantis to try and complete this undercut. Remember, Expilo will have fresher tyres when he pits for the medium tyres. Maybe he's just gambling on a safety car to make that pit stop. Expilo is into the pits. 23 seconds is the gap between him and Atlantis J20. He's all in there and alone. Let's see. Should be about 2.5 seconds stationary. And he's away very, very quickly. Now, Atlantis J20, he was about a second, maybe 2 seconds behind. A fastest lap for Atlantis J20. There's Expilo on the right-hand side. It's going to be neck and neck into turn 1. And Atlantis just about gets in front. And this should be now an incredible duel to the checkered flag. Fair play to Atlantis. Had to overcome that traffic. Expilo on the fresher rubber. Both drivers will get to the end. Look at that late braking from Expilo. He could about to immediately be taking the lead back from Atlantis. It's just too close. He's going to have DRS. Is Expilo. Atlantis moves left. And Expilo does get through. They're lagging inside of each other. But Expilo has got in front of his teammate Atlantis. It looks so good for one lap. For the Deaf Man. Still opportunity though to fight back. Matty Moo with the fastest lap. He's down in 10th place. So it's really not looking good for him. Gogglesaur leads the race by 2.3 seconds. Going super, super long on those hard tyres. Becoming a little bit of a Sergio Perez wannabe with this extension of his stint. Gogglsaw has pit. That clears the way. LSJ Rundle and Communist are side by side here. And LSJ Rundle has got ahead for now. Communist will fight back on the main straight. Rundle's exit is slightly better. What can he do? Gogglsaw has gone onto the softs. He is mad. He is mad if he thinks they're going to make it. Unless I'm just being mad for assuming wrong. They can't go to the end, surely. Bit of a shot going on in the Euros. My God. Nine laps to go. And that's 9 laps that Gogglsaw has to do on soft tyres. I still think he's insane. I think they can. They only feel good for about 3 laps. Quite absurd what he's trying. LSJ Rundle on Burning Man, he's gained another position, so Rundle on a bit of a mini charge using his mediums to great effect. Nice move there. On Burning Man, he's got Communist right behind. Atlantis is sneaking ever closer to the back of Expelo. The gap is now down to about 8/10, meaning he's back in DRS. Slightly older tyres aren't really causing too much of a problem at the moment. Atlantis in the DRS, that means he can get closer. He's quicker on in a straight line. That means better chance of overtaking. Don't be surprised if Gogglsaw smashes the fastest lap in a second. He has done 1 minute 33.358. He's under 20 seconds in the gap to the lead. He is after Pluto at a rapid rate. He's after a podium position. But I don't think those tyres are going to last. His pace will deteriorate very, very quickly, as will his tyre wear. And that's when you start to get a thing called punctures. Did you guys know they existed? Well, if you didn't, now you do. Atlantis remains about 8/10 back. Communist on Burning Man. This move has occurred, and that is before the DRS zone. So Communist has got the better of the 2 exits there. Oh! Oh, it's Philo! Oh my god! Oh my... Oh my god! What? Oh, you can't be serious. Uh... Uh... Oh my god. That was a huge crash, by the way. No, virtual safety car. That's fine. Apparently it was a controller drift. That... what just happened? Eh? Okay. Some rather remarkable scenes going on here. Championship scenario. Expilo loses the championship lead. Atlantis will go to 71 points. So he will be 9 points in front of Expilo heading into Japan. In the Sunday tier. Here goes Gogglesaw in the fight for the podium. Atlantis hits. Gogglesaw to the outside of Pluto. Can he make it stick? Atlantis is pit. He's going to lose 3 positions. He's gone on to the softs. He's going to lose all 3 of these positions. Here comes Gogglesaw again on Pluto. Here he goes to the outside of turn 1. Can he make it? Yes, he has for now, but Pluto remains on his inside for turn 2, which means he has to leave that car's width. Pluto and Gogglesaw still side by side here, and through goes Gogglesaw up into P2. Next up is LMG on the hard tyres. What? I still can't comprehend what sort of monstrosity I've just witnessed. The grip isn't quite there for Gogglesaw. That's visible. Atlantis is flying. He did pick up a 3-second penalty. Should be able to catch up, then pull away. Matty Mumu on Burning Man. Up into P7 goes the Renault driver, who's had a slow burner, but finally he finds himself with 6 points to his name. He's got Communist 2 seconds up the road. Should be catchable with the tyre situation. Atlantis is on the back of these 3, and if he can't get through them, that is an almighty bottle. From 17 seconds in the lead, I'm sure he just wanted to make it interesting for himself, considering he was yesterday's race winner in the Saturday tier. Here goes Atlantis. Can he get one of them? No, Pluto will not be overtaken into turn 6. He's got to get through them, and rapidly. Doesn't really have enough ERS to just use overtake on every straight either, so Atlantis is in some trouble. Here goes Atlantis. Finally, he's got one down. 2 more to go in terms of overtakes. But the penalty situation, LMG and Pluto with no penalties. That makes it even harder. Fair play to him for giving this a go, but he can very much win this championship. Personal best lap for Atlantis, and he gets past LMG immediately. So he's now up to P2, and Gogglsaw on dead tyres is next. Should be able to get past him very, very soon. Those tyres could blow, really, at any point. Atlantis versus Gogglsaw. Can he go around the outside at turn 7? No, but this could be a fantastic switchback move to the outside of turn 8. Look at the grip he's got in comparison, and that is nicely done from Atlantis. No, because Gogglsaw goes straight back around the outside at turn 9. Fabulous stuff. He's keeping Atlantis at bay and potentially holding him back for a race win. Oh, Matty's crashed. On the exit of turn 10, he's done what F1 driver did. Exactly the same location. If that's an error of his own. Here comes Atlantis to the outside of Gogglsaw at the hairpin at turn 14. Gogglsaw keeps it down the inside. Can Atlantis force this into a switchback? He's got a lot better traction. Here he goes. Atlantis. Gogglsaw has to cut the corner slightly. They're wheel to wheel through the final corner of all places. Neither of them have the DRS to open. They're still wheel to wheel into turn 1. Gogglsaw ahead of Atlantis. And this could be game over now for Atlantis. Because I don't think he's going to be able to make 3 seconds in 2 laps. Here goes Atlantis again. This time it's going to be the outside of turn 6, which means Goggle can keep the inside line. He has done. And again, Atlantis does stay in front. Yeah, look how little grip Goggle has. And in fact, there was a lot of kind of like rattling noises there, so I thought he may have a puncture. If he doesn't, he will do very soon. LSJ Rundle is in range to capitalise from his penalty. At least he will be in a few seconds. 1.6 seconds Atlantis needs to find on the final lap to keep the race win, and if he does that, that would be quite impressive considering the task he set upon himself. Gogglsaw don't get a puncture challenge is on for the final lap. If he makes it to the end, what is it, 9-10 laps on the tyres? That'd be some seriously impressive stuff. LMG can't quite get close enough. 2 seconds is the gap from Gogglsaw to LMG. LMG will be desperate to try and overtake and keep that 3-second window alive. The gap is now 2.5 seconds, and I don't think anyone has any challenge for Atlantis now. How that McLaren hasn't punctured yet, I will never know. But fair play to Atlantis. I mean, huge commiserations to Expelo. If there's honestly, genuinely, absolutely nothing he could have done about that, then, well, Very sorry. Yeah, it's a big yikes. Oh, LMG smashes into the back of Gogglesaw. Misjudging the grip difference there. It's becoming a four-man train, but Atlantis leads by 4.6 seconds down the straight. It's Pluto, and this is going to be for P2. If he can get in front of LMG, it's going to have to be a last gap overtake for Pluto. Here he goes down the inside of the hairpin at turn 14. We almost sent it on Gogglesaw there. Squeezes LMG out. But for Atlantis J20, he does win the Chinese Grand Prix. And for the second race this week, that is impressive stuff. Gogglesaw will finish 5th place after that penalty. And has he punctured just after the checkered flag? No, I think his car has just slowed down. But Pluto takes 2nd, LMG takes 3rd, and Rundle takes 4th. Then comes Gogglesaw, then comes Communist and Jake and Burning Man. And those were the 8 that officially made it to the checkered flag. Well done to all of those. That was a bizarre ending. That's all I'm going to say. Well done to Communist. Great drive from him, going from 15th to 6th. Gogglesaw maintained that fastest lap. 11 points to his name for that race. 45 minutes of some rather quite absurd action there. Poor Expelo. He goes again next week in Japan. And hopefully we'll see you all there. Thank you, anyone that watched. Thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. Because I know, compared to last week in Monaco, really nobody watched it. So it's clear the Monaco Grand Prix was quite popular among you guys. But yeah, until next time, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week for the Japanese Grand Prix. Goodbye.